Welcome to the Northwest Passages Community Forum livestream. My name's Christy Burns. I produce the Morning Review podcast and help coordinate Northwest Passages book club events and, like today, our livestream forums. Today, I'm happy to introduce the Spokesman-Review's business reporter, Amy Edelen, talking with Ken Sachs about a topic that many of us are stuck in right now, our house. Amy?
Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Ken. Thank you for joining us today. I guess, the first question that's probably on everybody's minds is, what's Spokane's housing market like? What are the dynamics of it?
Right. How's the market? I hear that question all the time. It's really active. We did not really feel much of a slowdown, and the market, our prices are up. Our inventory is still very low. Inventory is at about 2 months supply. And when I say that, what that means is at our current pace of sales, how long would it take to exhaust the inventory to zero? And that answer is 2 months. And that tells us we are in a deep, deep seller's market. Anything below 6 months, we consider seller's market. 6 is neutral, above 6 is a buyer's market. So we've been really deep down in a seller's market for a long time. And so what that means is the inventory is low. There's fewer homes to choose from for buyers. So sellers are able to kind of dictate the terms here. But if you price appropriately and it's fairly clean, you're going to sell it. And we're still seeing multiple offers. That never went away. And I don't see that really changing anything noteworthy for a while, just because we're so far down in inventory at 2 months. Plus, new construction is slow to come back in the face of COVID and the different phases that the governor lets us enter. So if you're a seller, if you're a buyer, you gotta have your act together.
Okay. So with COVID-19 and the stay-at-home order, obviously it changed how realtors conduct business. So how did realtors go about navigating that? And what was the response from buyers and sellers?
Yeah. So when this all happened, we were getting great communication from our state association, Washington Realtors, who literally was our government affairs people were spending all of their time in Olympia with the governor's office. And in the beginning, we were locked down. We could not leave our house. And so, Amy, if you wanted to see a house, which I did this with some buyers, it was the sellers walking around with their laptop and us looking at it going, oh, hey, can you show me what's down there? That was the way we were touring because we could not leave. And then fast forward just 6 days, the governor then allowed us to where we could show, but we just had to know what the rules were. And when that first happened, we could only have 2 people on the property total. So, I sold to a husband and wife. I couldn't show both of them at the same time. So we just had to know the rules and the laws, because we knew as easily as the governor was giving us permission to practice, it's just as easy for him to take it back if we abused it. So it was just a matter of over communicating to the realtors and making sure they understood what the requirements were. Some of the other differences, it was difficult to get any repairs done because unless it was structural or emergency, it wasn't considered essential. And so if we have $5,000 in repairs we need to do, the difference now, how we successfully close the transaction is we would ask the seller to give us $5,000 as a closing credit to our closing costs, leaving the buyer with that money when the house closes to then make the repairs. So just a few tweaks there. And, there were some brokers who were pushing back because maybe they felt inconvenienced or something. But that was a time, and it still is a time, where I've been telling realtors, you have to be overly empathetic and understanding of people's feelings with this COVID and what they're comfortable with. It's not about you, it's about the client.
Yeah. So how did buyers and sellers respond to, having to take virtual tours or do transactions electronically?
Yeah, that really wasn't much of an issue because the desire to sell or buy was greater than the feeling inconvenienced because now I have to sign my paperwork a different way, or the first view of the house is going to be a virtual tour, because we had sellers who, even when we were allowed to physically show the house, they would still say, stop, do a virtual tour first, and if you still want to see the house, then okay, we'll let you in the house. So there really wasn't a ton of pushback or issues between buyers and sellers in dealing with this COVID because you didn't have a choice.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that we have 2 months of inventory. Can you explain what price range that's in?
Well, that's a 2 months of inventory in Spokane. So that's not any one single price range. Now the price ranges where we're going to see that under 2 months would probably be up to about $350,000. And then, of course, the inventory is going to grow a little bit as we get into luxury type properties because the buyer pool is much smaller. But if you have anything like under, 200, 250, and it's priced appropriately, and I can't stress that enough, you're not going to have it long. You are not going to have it long.
Okay. So as, banks are tightening their mortgage requirements as a result of COVID-19, it's kind of presenting a predicament for first-time home buyers. So do you have any advice on what they can do to, I guess, present a good offer
To be
for a home?
successful and get a house.
Yes.
The first step, and you and I talk about this a lot, the first step is to align yourself with a trusted, experienced realtor. And then after you do that, listen to them. Listen to them. Because there's so many stories of, people want to be right and look good. And wait, we do this every day. So let us, explain to you how we can be successful. So buyers, you want to do everything you can to give the seller the secure feeling that you can perform and buy the house. So that is talking with a lender before you write an offer, and getting all that squared away so that when you do make your offer, and chances are you're going to be competing with other buyers. And so, it's like, pick me, pick me, pick me. We want to put our best foot forward, pretend like you're a seller. And, what's the seller going to want? You're asking them to take their house off the market and not consider any other buyers. So what does that look like for me to pick you? And again, that you want to show that you can close on the house, or the probability of you closing is the greatest. And think about those contingencies. The fewer contingencies we have in an offer, the more attractive that's going to be for a seller. And I always tell buyers, remember that you're approved on monthly payment, not purchase price. So you get these buyers who get hung up on, well, that's, they came back at $2,000 or $3,000 difference, and, I'm not going to budge. And you're like, stop. The purchase price is irrelevant. What payment is that? And so if that adds $20 a month to your payment, is that acceptable? But think of it that way, because that's what you're approved on, not the purchase price. And as a buyer, well, this goes for both buyers and sellers, but as a buyer, be careful. And first-time home buyers, this is very common, where the parent, right? So dad last bought a house 25 years ago, and I'm going to tell you, son or daughter, how it's done. 25 years ago, here's the market. This is always the market. Where were you, mom, dad, when you bought? Here? Well, maybe we're here now. So it's a completely different set of dynamics. Now, your loved ones want you to be successful, and they love you, and they want you to do well and all that. I get it. But I have seen, and I have had transactions fail because, the parent is coming in saying, this is how it's going to be done. Well, in a seller's market, I've got 5 other buyers that I can pick. I'm not sure I want to work with you. So buyers, again, listen to your realtor. And what I tell clients is, the second your sphere of influence, your friends, your neighbors, family, they know you're in the market, everybody's going to be giving you information and direction and do this, don't do that. You'll become paralyzed. So I tell people, look, write it down. Every time they say stuff, write it down, because if you don't write it down, you will become paralyzed. And then when we talk once a week, Amy, pull out your list. Let's go through the questions. And it just keeps those nerves calm. And speaking of nerves, buyers, be careful with those emotions, because, residential real estate, I would say that's why I sold commercial for 12 years in California. There's no emotions. In residential, there's a lot of emotions, and those emotions don't always line up with what's logical. And so you may be wanting to do this because of some emotion, and this makes no sense, and this is not going to help you be successful in your transaction. You got to curb those emotions. But it starts with aligning yourself with a trusted realtor who is experienced in the market dynamics and has a good track record. That was probably a really long answer for that question, Amy.
No, that's good. So we actually got a viewer question. Are we seeing a lot of out-of-town buyers that are looking to move to Spokane to be closer to family?
Yes, we are. We are, absolutely. I am under escrow right now with some buyers from California, and the house I just closed on, they were from California. So we are getting a lot of attention from out-of-town buyers, and that's going to continue driving prices up with that demand. I myself, back in 2003, moved here from California. Well, we're still seeing that. We're seeing more of it now. And I call them equity refugees. I can sell my 3,000 square foot, 1972 house for $800,000. And in Spokane, our average price is sitting at around the high twos, not quite 300. So 800,000, I can come here and buy pretty much whatever I want, and maybe a couple investment properties. That's highly attractive. And with our, house arrest that we've been under, people are realizing, I can be pretty productive from the computer and from my home and do things virtually. So we are absolutely seeing a lot of out-of-town buyers. But I caution you, and I caution the person who asked the question, because I hear this from sellers: let's overprice our house and get a California buyer. That doesn't work. That's not a reason to overprice your house. So I just want to make sure we're not taking what I said and say, oh, good, I'm going to overprice my house 25% because California is coming. Don't do that.
Okay. So what do you expect to see for the rest of 2020 in terms of our local market? Do you think that prices will hold steady, as well as inventory and the amount of homes on the market?
Yeah, so crystal ball question, and we get asked that all the time. And what I've been saying is I expect to still see inventory to be low. I expect to see prices to continue to climb, maybe not as sharply as we've seen in the past, but still continue to climb. It's all supply and demand, folks. And so with the out-of-town buyers and the other buyers we have, that puts demand and there's no supply, prices are going to go up. So I expect to see prices to continue to climb. I expect to see inventory to be low, and I expect new construction to be coming on slowly as these limitations we're under start lifting and people can go back to work.
Okay. Is there any other, I guess, future interesting trends that you see? You mentioned earlier, there's teleworkers that are looking to move to the area. Is there anything else that you're seeing out there?
Well, I was on a call with James Young. He's an economist for University of Washington. And he had some great comments to make about Spokane and how excited he is about Spokane and how he expects us to come out of this thing and how we're going to be really in a good, strong position. And that is because of our newer infrastructure. We have Amazon here. We're a supply chain for Boise in the Northwest. So he is saying we're going to be really in a good spot post-COVID. So again, that's only going to continue to put pressure on supply and upward pressure on prices. So if you need to buy a house, get out there now and buy a house. And if you need to sell, get out there now and sell. Take advantage of the low inventory.
So what are you seeing in terms of what are the most popular areas of Spokane that people are looking to move to?
It's all over. It's all over. There's no like one hot spot. I'm all over the place. Our brokers are all over the place. I am getting more people, which is interesting. I am getting more people now, and maybe it's a COVID thing. I don't know, but I haven't thought about this. So you asked me a question. More people now wanting to move out in the country and build in the country. And maybe that has to do with, hey, I can work this way. I don't need to go to my office every day. I want to get away from people. So I'm seeing, at least personally, I'm seeing more of a demand to get outside of the city. That's an interesting trend. I hadn't thought about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there any other pieces of advice that you would want to give our listeners if they're wanting to buy or sell a home?
Again, it all comes back to align yourself with a trusted realtor. It's not like, well, my friend I went to high school with, or my dad's friend, or mom's uncle, or whatever. You're talking about one of the probably most expensive things you'll buy in your lifetime. It's important to work with somebody who's competent and knows what they're doing, because again, here's the market, right? And every part of this graph has a certain set of dynamics. And you need to work with somebody who understands those dynamics, because that's what's going to make you successful. So sellers, I know that, national trends. Here's something I want to say. Well, nationally, the market is going up 19%, let's just say. Real estate is local, guys. I don't care what's happening nationally. My in-laws just moved to Phoenix. It was 110 there yesterday. It's like the weather. What does that temperature have anything to do with Spokane? What does the national appreciation or depreciation rate have anything to do with Spokane? Real estate is local. It's like the weather. So you need to know what's happening here. And sellers, the market does not care how much you need out of the house. It doesn't care how much you put into the house. It doesn't care. So that is not something to influence your pricing. And buyers, this is not your time to be overly demanding and expect, all your closing costs and finish the room off in the basement while you're at it. And hey, a new roof sounds good. Yeah, no, sellers are going to say, yeah, sayonara. I'm going to go to one of the other 6 buyers that's knocking on my door. So But that all comes back to work with somebody who's competent, proven track record, and then trust them. I always ask clients right in the very beginning, Amy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is honesty for you? And you'll say 10. Most people say 10, right?
Yeah.
Great. I hear that all the time, Amy. So would you then agree that since honesty is a 10, that there's going to be times I'm going to tell you something that you may not agree with, or you don't want me to say, or you don't like to hear, but honesty is a 10. And so if realtors have that conversation up front, they now have the permission to have those tough conversations with you, because honesty is a 10 for you. And that is to where you'll be successful. You got to listen to your realtor.
Okay, great. Well, that was all of my questions, unless anything else that you would like to add in today.
I think we covered it, you guys.
Well, honesty is a 10. Honesty is a 10. That is a good thing. Ken and Amy, that is really an amazing and educating conversation today about the market, everything in Spokane. Emotional purchasing right now is it's not if you're a seller, you want to make sure that you're listening to a trusted designated realtor. And I'm thrilled that we had one on our show today. Good job. Thank you very much, Amy. Thank you, Ken. This video will be added to our live stream archive online, which everybody can access online for free. We don't charge a ticket price, although we should get a pretty high one with you. You were very entertaining and informational, Ken. If you wanted to give us a ticket price, you could make a donation to our Community Journalism and Civic Engagement Fund via Innovia. We are adapting to new ways of doing business, bringing you facts and information like this that matters, and we appreciate your support. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you.